Hello and welcome to What the Flick. I'm Christy. This is Ben. This is Alonso, and we are wearing our superhero get-ups underneath our clothes. I mean, as usual, really. I mean, mine's always kind of there. Mine's shiny. Whoa, Please do not go that far. We are a family-friendly show here.
If you combine all Young Turks shows, there's probably a montage you could put together of me
of you
unsnapping
taking
my
off
shirt.
your shirt.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a movie called Man of Steel. There's a movie called Man of Steel coming out. This is Zack Snyder's take on Superman. It's different.
Well, there was a long time, there was a planet called Krypton. This is Zack Snyder's reimagination, sort of the Superman myth, legend. It is similar, but there are many differences. The important difference here is that maybe, I think we're going to find out here, I would say the best Superman since Christopher Reeve. And he looks a lot like Christopher Reeve. He's super handsome. Henry Cavill. I think you know the story. Enjoy.
Goodbye, my son. Our hopes and dreams travel with you.
My name is General Zod. Your world has sheltered one of my citizens.
You're the answer, son. You're the answer to are we alone in the universe? And I have to believe that you were sent here for a reason.
To those of you who know of his location, the fate of your planet rests in your hands. I will find him!
So I thought that this was two movies totally bisected by when I went to pee.
Do you want to know what happened when you went to pee?
Yeah.
We can tell you. We can fill you in.
I wasn't gone that long, but I knew it because after about an hour and 20, it's a fairly long movie. I think it's 2:23. Yeah. And after about the first hour and 20, hour 30, I loved it. Like I was headed to Nineville. Like I found it to be.
Which is next door to Smallville, right?
Right. It was emotional. I cared about everybody in it. I think I cried a couple of times.
Well,
I
you cry all the time, though.
I do cry.
I'm in a hotel for dogs. Let's be honest.
Hey, come on, who didn't?
But
the Boston Terrier is so cute. Go ahead,
there was a real tenderness about it, and I thought Henry Cavill was great, and I thought the kids who played him in flashback scenes when he was younger, they're two different sort of ages that he is. I thought they were great. It was moving. I love Diane Lane and Kevin Costner as his adopted Earth parents. And then, as soon as the meat of the conflict starts with Michael Shannon as General Zod on Earth, I started liking it less and less and less. And I know that will put me completely at odds with many people who think that the last 45 minutes of the movie are great. I found the last 45 minutes of the movie so painfully repetitive with the same fight sequence over and over and over again that I ended up being bored at the end.
I kind of agree with you exactly. Go ahead, yeah.
Well, they could stand to lose a fight sequence, maybe two fight sequences. I didn't have as pronounced a shift as you, but yeah, definitely there's that overkill, and it's almost like it's that big studio template where there's fight, big fight that you think is the last fight, and then, oh no, wait, there's still another thing, and it's like, and you can almost just sort of tick it off in your head. But you're right, up to that point, it's very promising, and it's interesting how they diverge from the Supermans that we've seen in the past, both in the big screen and in the comics, particularly how loving the Kents are, but at the same time, in the past, they've been all, well, you have this gift and you must share it with the world. These guys are almost more like, you have this gift and it would probably be better if nobody knew about it because that could cause problems for you.
To the point where there's a legitimate conversation about whether he should let tragedy happen and not save people he could save because he would out himself.
Right.
No, I like the inner conflict he has here because, I mean, previously, he's just this totally earnest, almost goody-goody, and he's just singular in his purpose. And I like the fact that he is conflicted as to why he's on Earth. I like the fact that he's conflicted as to, his own inner rage and his own mortal feelings, and that is, of course, what superhero origin stories are all about these days, because Christopher Nolan is one of the producers, and did he co-write the script?
Writer, and
So
David Goyer, who wrote several of the Dark Knight movies.
And of course we have Hans Zimmer doing the score, so it has that wall to it. But I really like the torment, and I love the kind of seamless way to go back and forth between present day Clark Kent and flashing back, really in elegant,
effective.
poetic ways to his childhood.
They don't
It's
tell
really
the whole
nice.
thing in order. Once he's
It's
on
really
Earth,
nice.
they jump ahead to adulthood and then kind of weave back into the other stuff.
But you mentioned Hans Zimmer, and I mean, this is Transformers loud. This movie is, I mean, this is rock concert loud. Like, my ears were ringing. And part of the problem at the end is that when it's this one fight sequence after another, and those fight sequences are identical. I mean, there's nothing.
Just one big one, isn't it? Is it even?
Well, no,
is it
it's
several?
broken up a bit,
They
but-
break it up, but each time, from the first fight that they have with the two monsters and the girl, the two people, one of whom the Kryptons.
The Kryptons are coming
The
over.
Kryptons are coming, right? Like, the idea is the same. I mean, one thing that was cool in Superman is you always sort of wonder, like, when they just get knocked into a wall, why they don't go through the wall. Well, they solve that here. All they do is go through walls.
They go through entire buildings.
They go through buildings, but that idea just kept repeating itself, and the skidding on the ground, it just happened again and again and again.
I will give them credit that the way these fights are staged, none of them are particularly attuned to using their powers on Earth. I mean, not even Superman, who's barely called Superman in the movie, by the way. So they're all sort of testing the limits and figuring out what they can do and not reacting as smoothly as in one's past. Like, when this Superman gets shot in the chest, the bullets bounce off of them, but he flinches, he feels them, and that's new.
It's not like ba-goo.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's some response there. I thought that was interesting.
I agree.
For a while.
Right? But
And then too much.
just the look was exactly the same. And that last thing that you referenced, the last fight that comes after the last fight, that was almost a deliberate attempt to say, okay, now I know. Now I'm going to irritate.
Can we talk about the fact, I'm sorry, just that there's massive carnage in this movie, right? The thing that Superman is on Earth to do, which is save people, there are thousands, like who knows how many die. Entire buildings come crumbling down. And it definitely invokes,
There's
it
so
invokes
much
a lot of-
9/11 imagery in this movie.
It's strangers holding hands and scurrying from falling buildings and covered in dust and rubble.
Rescuing each other out of fallen debris and literally planes flying into buildings. It's like, okay.
Is it that we're okay with it now?
I get they've decided that we are, because this summer this year we've had, Star Trek Into Darkness. We've had, something I can't talk about yet. But there have been a handful of films this year where, where it's like we're going to go there and we're going to do it, and
what was the one that isn't White House Down?
Olympus Has Fallen.
Olympus Has Fallen.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of that this year where they've just, they has decided that we're okay with it.
How do we feel about that? How do you feel?
Movies seem less bothered about playing that for action movie entertainment than TV networks feel comfortable showing that footage again in a news context. It's kind of creepy, I think, and I know people who get upset by it every time it happens. So I don't think everybody is ready for it yet.
I think it looks tacky and exploitative.
Yeah, I think that you can do it, but it's got to be in a sort of a really serious movie. I don't mean a serious movie that can't be a fun movie, but it can't feel sort of just flippant at another big set piece that
For
we've
entertainment
designed.
value.
Right, and
Yeah.
it did feel like that
Totally.
here, and it's not necessary. There are other ways to do disaster, or maybe once, but I mean, the building falling is okay, but then, like, again, you had
Yeah,
the
the people
run,
covered in dust,
and running from it, the white dust. I mean, that was it was totally a reminder.
Well, it
not
becomes a Zack Snyder movie eventually, right? For a long time, it's very thoughtful and it's comparatively
Yeah.
quiet.
Yes.
Compared to Zack Snyder films, but it becomes one in that seemingly endless bit of carnage there at the end.
Yeah, and of course it is the carnage, but it's my least favorite kind of carnage because it's carnage where you actually don't see any dead
Right,
people.
it's just destruction, actually.
Right,
Right.
just
And that's the word I should use.
It's destruction, but I don't like that because we're inured to it that way, and I wasn't totally comfortable with that. Let me just say one thing because it's about that. I thought there was some inconsistency, and I talked about it with someone after the movie. Was there some inconsistency with when he bled or anything like that? Did you guys have any issue with that, or am I just like there was one point he bled on the Klingon.
We'll get letters.
Oh my God, Ben.
Whatever. He bled.
have a job.
He bled on Zod's ship, but he was weakened on Zod's ship.
Right. Well,
because
Zod's ship was recreating Krypton's atmosphere,
and we know that,
and he's vulnerable on
there's an issue with
Krypton.
that. But then it seemed like there were. I would have. You mentioned the bullets bouncing off him. I was intrigued by the thought that we're going to see some vulnerabilities when he fights. But those went away. Like we saw that quickly, and then you forget it because then he literally is pushed through 9 buildings, and like he has a moment where he's like, "Oh, my shoulder." Okay, and then he's fine.
You're talking about Amy Adams. What are your thoughts?
I liked Amy Adams. I thought that this was a Lois that felt like a journalist and not a girl reporter. There is a thing that happens that I'm not going to give away that I think is going to upset a lot of Superman fans. That is a very sort of, it's one thing to darken him up, but this might be beyond the pale for some folks. But
tell me what you mean by that later on, because I'm curious.
We'll take it
think.
offline.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about Jesus.
There's some Christ figure images.
I got a call yesterday from Inside Edition to be on their air talking about. No, I didn't do it. I couldn't do it. About the sort of Christ-like imagery, and they were like, everybody's talking about it, and I looked it up, and
Are they?
some people are talking about. Well, he falls out of the ship. There's
he's floating in the water like this, and
they did that in Superman Returns too. I mean, that's not new here.
And he is sort of. He is sent. There's an adopted father and the godlike father and all that stuff.
But in a manger.
But that's right. But that's true. That's true in every
iteration.
Superman story. And anyway, and then that led me to reading all these other things about how Superman is Jewish, which is funnier.
Well, his fathers are Jewish,
right,
but the mother we don't know.
Right,
so.
his real father.
Although in this case, his mother is Eilert Zurer, who's an Israeli actress, so I guess we can assume that he is.
Oh, come on.
And it is matrilineal.
Yeah, totally.
So there you go.
There was one thing I want to give a shout out to, minor thing, but I thought it was very cool. I've never seen this in a Superman movie before. There's a point where he falls down, and rather than climb back up to his feet to then fly off, he floats up. And I thought, well, of course he would float up. He flies. Why would he get back on his feet? What's the point of that? So I just thought that was a neat little touch. That was.
I thought Kevin Costner and Diane Lane were great.
Yeah.
I really thought they were really good.
Yeah. Earthy. Well, thoughts on Michael Shannon as Zod? It's not quite so campy as Terrence Stamp.
Fine. He's been more interesting in other stuff, but he's fine.
He's good,
Holy crap! The product placement.
Oh yeah, this
Sears,
is brought to you by
IHOP,
Sears.
and 7-Eleven.
Smallville has a Sears. Are you aware of that?
I've heard now. Yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. It doesn't bother me. I guess I'm used to it.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of it. And I thought he was great. I thought Shannon was good. He makes it more serious. Like I'm not comparing him to Terrence Stamp, but just in general, sort of a bad guy with his chops.
Yeah.
Makes you sort of, I think, fear him more, take him more seriously.
I
thought it was
wanted
good.
him to say Neil before Zod, and he never did. That kind of bummed me out.
And I thought
Henry Cavill's
I liked Russell Crowe.
I thought Russell Crowe was really good. I was sorry he didn't. I was sorry to see Jor-El not sing. That would have been great.
Yeah, although he does dive at one point, I was like, "Whoa! This is how Les Mis ended."
I thought Henry Cavill was really good.
Totally.
I thought he was a really good.
Looks the part.
Yeah, he was good. He looked the part. He was good. There was a moment where he looked exactly like Chris Reeve, and I thought that was really good. So anyway, I liked the first half. I didn't like the second half. It left me with a 7.2. I feel like that's actually a little high because I hated not even the last half, the last third. I didn't hate it. I just got super bored.
I'll tell you, I went solid 7. I think it works way more than it doesn't work, although sometimes it doesn't work. I'm excited to see what they can do now that first movie's out of the way. Because the first superhero movie, it's always got to be the origin story, and then. But now it's like, okay, bam, characters are set up. We know the world, all that stuff. So now let's go do something, and that I want to see.
And unlike the Bryan Singer 2006 effort, like this is clearly going to be another one.
Right.
Like this.
Well,
this
at the time they thought it was going to be too, in 2006.
This seems, although I didn't think that was terrible, but this is better. Seems more substantial.
I think so.
I gave it a 7. What did I do? No,
So you gave it a
6.8.
6.8.
I always forget. 6.8.
So we're right at an even 7 for Man of Steel.
And where is it? Oh, 60%.
Yeah, it's
on
right
tomato meter.
right on the edge,
Oh, it's
right on
barely
the
fresh.
right on the
Fresh, rotten divide.
barely fresh.